to Windy Ride. What's up, nerdlers? What? I have a degree in communication, kids. Don't try speaking at home. I'm a professional. I've been doing this for 60 years, and I still can't pronounce words. Words! What's up? It's your boy, the OGGM, taking another walk here in lovely Fresno, Nevada, which looks suspiciously like Southern California beach town. I don't know why. It's just a thing. The goal is to go to the store because we have no food, but we are also having the Santa Anas, which means my head might not be able to make it. We'll see. It's a crazy time. All right, so apparently it's top 10 time again, where we all make our list of top 10 games, top 10 adventures, top 10 movies, top 10 favorite magic items, top 10 favorite monsters, whatever. So I don't know if there's anybody out there who isn't familiar with my top 10 is, because I usually just mention it all the time. But okay, let's do top 10s. First off, now, what's the difference between your top 10 list and say your bucket list and your desert island list, right? Because if I just list what I think my personal is, but then I also think about, well, if I could only bring X amount of games with me at the end of the world, what would be the top of my list? Or are those two separate lists? And top 10 is so, based upon your own personal whatever, it's hard to say. I mean, are we just talking top 10 financially? Or just the ones we've enjoyed the most? Or we think is the best? And then we always argue with somebody because I'll say, Hummingbirds of Lake Vegas is the best role-playing game ever made. And somebody else was like, fuck you, all the Hummingbirds is the worst. You don't know what you're talking about, OGGM. So, yes, blah. All right. Starting with the most obvious. Top 10 favorite role-playing games. Oh no, what's going to be at my number one? Is it going to be Marvel Superhero Role-Playing? Considering how long it's been since I've actually got a chance to play, I don't know why it's always been on my top 10. I think I just nostalgically remember it better than maybe it was because of its emotional resonance with me. How it was just the perfect game for me at that time in my life because of reasons I've listed over and over and over again. Same with Villains and Vigilantes. I played a lot of Villains and Vigilantes. In fact, I would say most of my superhero games are heavily inspired by Villains and Vigilantes and Heroes Unlimited. So, I mean, we gotta just admit that my top 3 are superhero role-playing games. Way more influence on my life than any fantasy role-playing game. Way more what I design and think. I think comic book. I don't think dirt, grimy fantasy. I've only got 4 torches. I think comic book. I think 1980s in Southern California. I think Saturday morning cartoon. I don't know why my brain is programmed that way. I assume I'm the exception because most people don't agree with me. But yeah, I'm still, I'm a 60-year-old kid. I love cartoons, I love toys, I love superheroes. So yeah, my top role-playing game of all time is also my top 3 desert island game, and that's Villains and Vigilantes. It's the one that inspires me for everything else. I go back to Villains and Vigilantes. I go back to Heroes Unlimited. I go back, when I'm writing my superhero game or whatever I'm going to do when this game is finished. It's usually V&V. So, and Heroes Unlimited are as my constant reference. So number 1 is Villains and Vigilantes. Number 2, Heroes Unlimited, because again, it's a game I constantly reference. And even though I think it's an editing nightmare, it's an amazing game. And if Palladium just could spend the same amount of time reworking Heroes Unlimited for Heroes Unlimited 3 that they do for re-releasing the same game over and over and over again, it would be the best superhero role-playing game. Or it has the potential. I mean, they could, drop the ball and make a piece of crap game if they revisited Heroes Unlimited. I don't know. Again, there's the nostalgia factor. I remember it. being better than what it actually was. I'm coming for you now, Bung Boy. All right, well, come on. Condor, I'm not hard to find. Jesus Christ, this kid. Pay stayed 775. I'm coming for you now, Bung Boy. All right. Moving on. Apparently somebody's coming to get me, guys. So if I get grabbed and dragged away, you know why. Oh, abandoned shelf. So number 1, Villains of Vigilante. Number 2, I don't know, is it D&D? It's probably D&D. I mean, those are the 2 that are most influential in my life. Number 3, Shadow Dark, because without Shadow Dark, without Dungeons and Dragons, you don't have Shadow Dark. And it's amazing how much Shadow Dark has influenced the way I play and the way I design and the way I think since it came out. So it's got to be in the top 3. Top 4, we got V&V, D&D, Shadow Dark, Marvel Superhero Role-Playing, Heroes Unlimited, D6 Star Wars. It's the best of all the Star Wars. I love it. Tales from the Loop, a game I've never played, a game I'll never get a chance to play, a game I'll never run. I love it. I love it. I don't know why. I just do. From the moment I saw the very first picture of the art for it, I fell in love with Tales from the Loop. Now for the last 3, we get into the weird stuff that I've played that maybe nobody else has ever heard of. Raven Star, Tinker's Dam, and Cyberpunk. So there we go. There's my top 10. Villains and Vigilantes, Dungeons and Dragons, Shadow Dark, Marvel Superhero Role-Playing, Phase Rift. What was the rest? I don't remember. Finagle, Boat, and Lucid, what are you doing? How many accounts do you have, Veruca? I'm walking to the store. What are you doing? Hopefully you're having a good day. All right, now I forgot my list. Anyways, okay. You heard the list. I forgot it. We know what the top 5 are. All right. Villains and Vigilantes, Dungeons and Dragons, Shadow Dark, Heroes Unlimited, Marvel Superhero Role-Playing Game. There we go. Then we get the 5 weird ones. D6 Star Wars, Tales from the Loop, Raven Star. There's a game no one's heard of, right? Right up there with Dogs in the Vineyard and Lady Blackbird, I'm sure. Which are all great games. I can't fit it into the top 10. Tinker's Dam and Cyberpunk. All right. So there we go. Considering I worked on GURPS, I should be higher up. But GURPS got ruined too fast for me, Probably because the same time I was playing GURPS, I was playing with Champions players, and Champions players quickly found ways to break GURPS. But yeah, for its ease of play for a 3D6 system, it had so much potential. And I don't know about the rest of the world. Howdy. How you doing? I don't know about the rest of the world, but I can tell you for here in my part of Fresno, Nevada, like universally, every game I was in at that point in time in the late 80s, early 90s stopped and switched to GURPS. Every fantasy game I was in, every superhero game I was in, the weird time travel game I was in, the Aftermath game I was in, the Top Secret game I was in, because I was in a lot more games when I was younger. Everybody just stopped, like universally, without anybody actually saying anything. They stopped playing whatever they were playing and switched to GURPS. And some games worked perfectly with GURPS, others did not. Like, superheroes did not work with GURPS. You've heard my horror stories about arguing with them about simple rules, so yeah. Cyberpunk there was definitely systems that works with GURPS and definitely systems that didn't. Most generic systems aren't generic. are unconsciously designed to feed a certain genre. There are things that work with Savage Worlds that don't work, and there's things, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, so top 10 games. Now, top 10 systems, my desert island list, like, what is the game that I could take with me if I could only grab one that would allow me to run anything I could think of with very little prep and very little supplies, right? So this list is always like neck and neck for what number one is, because I would usually, as you probably know, I lean kind of more towards the percentile basic role-playing system from Chaosium. The engine behind Call of Cthulhu is considered by many, at least at one point in time, to be the best super system ever written. But how often do you find 10-sided dice in the universe? If I'm running from zombies and the apocalypse, am I going to find 10-sided dice? No, probably not. If I'm trapped on a desert island, am I going to find a rock with 10 sides to generate percentile? But you know what I am going to find everywhere? D6s. I'm going to find, if I'm on a desert island, I will find a D6 rock, D6 shaped rock, right? If I'm running through the backwoods of, I don't know, New Mexico, and I run into a 7-Eleven being chased by zombies, there is a 75 to 80% chance that if I look on the wall where the smoking stuff is, there's that random pack of 6-siders that you find everywhere. Think about it. The next time you walk into a convenience store, 7-Eleven, a gas station, Food Mart, look on the shelf next to where the car scent things and the other weird stuff is, and there'll be that weird pack in the blue thing of 6-siders. I have never not found one. So 6-siders are therefore easier to find in the wilderness than percentile. So it defaults to probably a 6-sided system. I think to run anything I could ever think of, basic role-playing is a better system. But for ease of play and ease of understanding and ease of finding the materials I need, it's D6. It's got to be D6. So number one, if I could only drag one role-playing game with me during the apocalypse, would be a D6 system. It would either be Year Zero, or it would be D6 Star Wars, or it would be the V6 engine from Atomic Highway, which is a very good D6 dice pool system, but never really got enough love. Another obscure game I've played that probably nobody else has. Atomic Highway. Great Mad Max game style post-apocalypse. Oh, Amber, the no dice system, I think you succeeded. I mean, sure, yeah, Rochambeau system would beat any system. But this is my list. Your list will be different, I assume. This is my desert island list. So, number one, D6 system. Number two, percentile system. Number three, villains and vigilantes. Instinctively, my hand would be reaching for V&V. And I'm sure if Shadow's on there, he's listening. Yeah, it's his desert island role-playing game. It's in his bug-out kit. It's definitely in my top three. And then everything else is just paramutations. It's gonna, if I need a token D20 system, it's Shadow Dark or D&D. I mean, now we're just thinking about who's going to take up the least amount of space if I can only take one. V&V is like 24 pages. Basic role-playing from Chaosium, without all the fluff that they added in the reprint, is like 24 pages, right? D6 Star Wars core rules is like 24, 30 pages without the Star Wars stuff, but the actual system. Shadow Dark is like 50 pages in that thick black book. I'd be looking at it going, I could probably just bring my zip drive that has all these games on it, and maybe I'll never be able to plug it in again to anything because it's the apocalypse, but I'm not dragging that thick, heavy book with me to a desert island. So everything after those four is just, I mean, there's a top 5. There's no way you could do a top 10 best systems because they're basically all the same, right? Roll a dice, draw a card, do something weird. And of the do something weird ones, there's just Dread, right? Dread is original, Dread is unique. For unique systems, the most ingenious idea for a system that I've seen in a long time, it's got to be Dread. But when are you going to have time to build a Jenga tower to decide the outcome of your game? Dread is great, but Dread only works if you have the tools. So yeah, any game after those 5, it's just permutations. I've never been down this street. It goes to the same place, but I usually go that way. Whatever, you don't care. So I don't know what's on this street. It's always nice to see a new street. Remember, if you're walking your neighborhood, every now and then pick a different street, because you can live your whole life in one place and only see 2 blocks, right? So part of this whole walking quest for positivity experiment is to find new places that I've never walked down before. Random art thing. I'm getting quotes, but I can't see them. Oh yeah, there's Shadow, V&V, yes. Shadow and I might not agree on a lot of things, other than 1, V&V is the best superhero role-playing game ever, and 2, it's supposed to be funny. So, now we get blah, blah, blah. Okay. Now, top 10 best adventures I've been in as a player. Top 10 best campaigns. This one's a little weirder, right? Because it's all personal. What are my top 10 personal bests? Well, you don't know. You weren't there. I could wax poetic for hours about that game, but you're like, I don't understand. What are you talking about? What are your references? Whatever. Now, number 1 is near and dear to my heart because it was the same game for 15 years, every Sunday for 8 to 10 hours, run by the same DM, one of the top 5 DMs I've ever had the pleasure of playing with, and Lord knows I was a difficult person to be around back then. Company of the Bull, D20, run by TJ Storm from the day I met him at the Los Angeles gaming convention over at the old Marriott Hotel, to the day I left North Hollywood. And it's one of the few things I regret about leaving North Hollywood was I wasn't going to be able to game with him anymore. But for 15 straight years, same game. Well, I mean, there were occasional side games. We'd play Marvel for 1 or 2 or other games when he was tired or didn't have the whole group. But 90% of my gaming life was TJ Storm running the Company Bull characters from day 1 to when I left. As far as I know, it's still going in some permutation. Josh's character still has more stuff than everybody else, I'm sure. Shout out to Josh. But yeah, that was number 1. Number 2, the Villains and Vigilantes campaign that I was in that Barry Osser ran. Never gets enough credit for that game. It was so much fun. And, 80% of everything in my current game is based upon that game. So that's number 2. Number 3 was the various Pathfinder D20 games that Matt Broman ran for us for, I don't know, 10, 15 years. Unfortunately, Matt never finished campaigns. He would get pretty close, and then either he would get frustrated, or the players would get frustrated, or we'd do something so categorically stupid that we would end the game short circuit and take it in a way that even now you look back at the series of events and go, how did we send an entire planet to hell? How did that happen? I still don't understand. So that was probably my second favorite game. Look at all these posts that I can't read. Clem gets a +2 to his spell rolls. I don't know what that means, but go for it, Clem. I want a +2 to my spell rolls. How come nobody ever invites me to their games? Because you're a jerko, GGM. Okay, so this is the back of the Fresno, Nevada post office. I mean, you never really think about it, but sure, post offices have a back, I guess. Not much to see. Then here's a weird vacant lot. Ooh. No, there's a house. What is this? Weird apartment complex. So number 1, D&D, TJ Storm. Number 2, Villains and Vigilantes, Barry Osser. Number 3, D&D / Pathfinder / D&D, Matthew Broman, Attorney at Law. Shout out to Math out there in Tennessee. Number 4, Star Wars, run by Matt Broman. Number 5, GURPS, run by the Christine Morgan. Number 6, Temponaut, run by Matthew Keating, another game that heavily influenced how I run, play, think. Then there's like a bunch of one-shots and two-shots that I played that I really, really loved, but you know, I was my best experience when we only played for like 3 days. So really, it's just best to do top 5. Because then we're going to get to like obscure homemade games that you've never heard of, and you're going to be like, well, Lady Blackbird, what's that? Tinker's Dam, what's that? GURPS Special Ops. The best, I will say, that of all the short games I played in that only lasted a couple sessions, the James Bond / Top Secret, whatever it was called, game. We played for a couple weeks in the dorms, playing Top Secret or whatever it was called, and the vehicle guide had just come out. So everybody wanted to make the James Bond Aston Martin, right? So the DM gives everybody like $1 million to kit out their Aston Martin, their gadget car. And the guys are all sitting there, you know, painstakingly going through the vehicle list, coming up with their gadget car, their portable tank. And my character, I'm like, you know, I could spend $1 million on one vehicle and risk it getting blown up.
Wait.
Or I could buy an entire fleet of vehicles, and if one gets blown up, oh well.
Wait.
Because I've seen enough James Bond movies to know the vehicle will get blown up and Q will get upset. So instead of spending all my money on one vehicle, I bought a fleet of vehicles. I bought a bunch of Yugos and other cheap used cars, you know, like a $600 car. Can my character go to the police impound and buy cars for like $300? And the DM's like, yeah, all right, I buy like 8 of those. So I had like 12 cars. They're still working on one. And I'm like, well, I might as well buy a garage. So then I bought a garage. Then I had to kit out what was in the garage. And then by the time we started playing, I had like 20 cars in my fleet, and they all had their $1 million Bond vehicles. And guess what happened? Every one of the $1 million Bond vehicles got blown up by the end of the game, and they're all upset. They're all, oh, that time and effort. And I'm like, okay, I just walk back to my garage and grab another one. And they're like, what? I was like, yeah, that car I spent like $300 on. What about the weapons? I had a knife in the glove compartment. You know, I glued some roofing nails on the front in case I had to crash into anybody. You know what the weapon was? The car. Because if I dragged the car into anybody, oh well, it's another $300. Jesus. Yeah, so if you ever get a chance to play a game where you can buy vehicles and somebody says, here's $1 million, build a super vehicle, buy cheap cars instead. That super vehicle will get blown up. All right, we're almost at our locations. We've done top 5 games, top 5 system, top 5 campaigns I played in. What's left? Top 5 influences. What influences? What is the most team RPG influence on me? What is my go-to inspirations? What is my D&D movie? The most D&D movie ever. If I could only pick one movie that to me said, this is Dungeons and Dragons in all its glory, in all its epicness, and in all its tomfoolery, and how the best and worst of the hobby, it's The Gamers. The first 2 movies in the Gamer series, that would be it. That is D&D. That is a D&D session. Both for the players and for what you would see as the characters. That's the closest to a real D&D game movie you're gonna get. If you haven't seen The Gamers and The Gamers 2, I think it's on YouTube. So yeah, those are tied for number 1. Number 2, Hawk the motherfucking Slayer. I will fight tooth and claw on that one. That is the best D&D movie. Kicking synth soundtrack, outrageous magic items, spells you actually recognize. Jack Palance as the villain, trying to knock off Star Wars. Hawk with the Mind Sword. And let's not forget the unofficial sequel, Hunter, Fugitive from the Empire. And of course, the never seen sequel to Hawk, Hawk the Redeemer, which is still sitting in development somewhere. And the Hawk the Slayer role-playing game, which never got published. That's number 2. Yeah. Number 3, Conan the Destroyer. I know most people say Conan the Barbarian, but for a solo play, for playing a barbarian, it's Conan. But for D&D, it's Conan the Destroyer. That's just the best. Those are your top 3, right? Top 4, Star Wars. Yeah, Star Wars, Empire, Jedi. That's more D&D than Lord of the Rings, as far as I'm concerned. So yeah. Oh look, they took apart the Burger King. So there you go. How long did it take me to get here? 26 minutes. It only takes me 15 minutes to get to the store the opposite way. So yeah, going the other direction's better. All right, well, I'm here, guys, so we're going to let you go. Hopefully you appreciate my list. If you do, let me know. If you never want to hear me talk again, let me know. I'll talk to you later. Bye.